Hey everybody, it's Tori from Avalon Enchanted. I'm actually live on Instagram this evening, and I'm also live on YouTube this evening as we discuss about the 8-8 energy portal and also Sekhmet and how she ties into this 8-8 energy portal. So I thought I would do a reading about the energy so people know what to expect with tomorrow. People know what to expect with the overall energies that's going on um, in the next couple of weeks because it's definitely going to be interesting. So, for those of you that might not know who I am, again, my name is Tori, and the business Avalon Enchanted is a spiritual reading and coaching business. We actually have a small studio in Wickford, Rhode Island, located at 24 Brown Street in Wickford. So, what we do is we actually do tarot readings and oracle readings. We go live every Thursday to provide an energy update. So, this is kind of like an extra energy update, I guess you could say. We also do, let's see, we also do past life regression. We also do energy healing. I do, for example, IET, which is integrated energy, uh, basically integrated energy that deals with the angelic realm. I also do something called Sekhem Reiki, which is a form of Egyptian type of Reiki, where we incorporate energy from Sekhmet, who's all about healing, as well as also destruction, which we'll talk about a little bit about later on. But I also do a lot of coaching. Right now, I'm actually teaching a class on reading tarot. We also do mediumship. We do um, violet flame energy healing as well, and quantum healing. So there's a lot that we offer at Avalon Enchanted. Um, Again, this is just kind of an extra bonus reading. Thought I'd come on, talk a little bit about what Lionsgate is, talk a little bit about what we can kind of expect, and what things might be like for the next couple of months that are coming up. Because generally, what happens is I tend to feel that we tend to have the veil between the worlds start to get thinner, and I tend to feel it's been getting earlier and earlier. Usually, it happens around Halloween or Calangaeaf, as I call it, which is the Welsh terminology. However, I have been noticing that it has been happening much sooner than that. Almost like it's kicking off like around August, around this 8-8 time frame. So why don't we go ahead and get started? We'll talk about not only the tarot part. I have tarot cards here, and I also have my Sekhmet Oracle cards with me to be able to provide us some information as to what to expect. So, what do we want to expect? And what messages do we need to know? Whenever I'm doing readings, I always focus on that they come from that they are healing and helping, and that they're of the brightest and the whitest of light. So, healing and helping of the brightest and whitest of light, because I want to make sure that we are working with. Ooh, okay, that just flipped out. So, this is the Queen of Pentacles. So, that's a good card. Um, I always want to make sure that the information or the details that I provide um, are just that, healing and helping. Spirit is very good about not showing me something. If it's not healing and helping, they're not going to show me. Because sometimes people will ask some questions that maybe it's just not in their best interest to know at that time, which happens. Um, or it's just not the information that they should be focusing on. So, with that being said, let's see what else we got. So, what information do we need to know? And what messages are there? All right. So when I read tarot, like I said, I like to read tarot, and I also like to read oracle. I tend to read them in the same reading, simply because I find that it makes a better reading, and it kind of comes full circle, which I think is really important. So we definitely have some stuff going on. One of the things that I will say right off the bat is that there are a good number of swords. And as I always tell my clients, swords can either cut you or they can protect you. Okay. And with that being said, you may find that there are certain things that you may need to cut away. There may be some things that you find yourself cutting away before you might even realize it. I think what's really going to be important this particular time frame is that we focus very specifically on discernment. Focusing on discernment is going to be something that is going to be critical for a lot of people. So you may find that there are changes not only in your social groups, but also maybe how you view things. There may be changes of different, I don't know, hobbies, things that you find an interest in. We're also going to have a lot of people that are going to be kind of breaking away from the traditional ways of thinking, and they're going to be kind of charging ahead. So if you have been finding that you are in the process of starting to open up, you may find that you just want to kind of take everything all in all at once. So what I'm going to say with that is that you really do need to keep that guarded. It's going to be really important to make sure that you're keeping your level of protection and your level of grounding up, especially for these couple of months. I think it's going to be something that you might be kind of in for a little bit of a wild ride. And if we try to charge into certain things when we're not fully prepared, then maybe we're going to find ourselves knee deep in a situation that we can't control or we can't extricate ourselves out of when we realize, oh boy, I've gotten over my head. So I think it's great that there's a lot of people that are opening up. I always encourage that. I always encourage people, if they're going to do that, to find someone to help you. Find someone that can guide you. Find someone that can hold space for you while you're in the process of doing that. Because as you're doing that, you're exploring, different parts of your psyche. You're exploring yourself. And this person or this mentor or this coach, if you will, is going to be there to help guide you and keep you safe, basically. They're going to be there to help teach you what's necessary for protection. They're going to be there to help teach you how to protect, how to ground yourself and anchor yourself effectively, and ultimately how you can navigate through this world that starts to open up for you, and starts to make sense. So I feel like that's going to be important. That's going to be something where you may have already had situations that have kind of started to kind of peek open the door, the crack open the door, so to speak. It's almost like you've been tapped, but now is the time for you to start to really realize your potential and how you can start to really bring in your spiritual side with all that you do in your daily activities. Okay. So that's going to be something that's important. It's going to be something that is going to be someone that is, I don't want to say traditional, but they've definitely put the time and the energy in order to help you branch out and open up and explore. Okay. So, like I said, find yourself somebody that, if you're new to this, find someone that can help you do that. If you are somebody that has been doing this for a while, there may be some new things that you like to try that you may find that all of a sudden you're paying attention to and you want to add in, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and also make sure that it is in your highest and best. And interestingly enough, I just pulled the High Priestess. Okay. So I do feel like there may be some new things that come in for you, that all of a sudden you're going to start paying attention to, I guess is the best way to describe it. And you may actually find yourself developing a much stronger or keener interest in things. Which is fine. Interestingly enough, we do have the disc, or I should say the Ace of Pentacles, which is all about success. It's all about, abundance coming in. Let me pull another card and get a little more of a definitive answer. Ooh, we have the Hierophant. So it's interesting because I have here the Emperor, which is kind of crossing us, and it tends to be very traditional but supportive. We have the Hierophant, but here's the thing. It looks like they're in school. And I like to work with the Egyptian pantheon. That is Osiris. So what I'm going to say is there may very well be some new things that really kind of crack you open, and really allow for a formal type of process. There may be things that you find there are going to be some, I almost want to say, ascension symptoms with people, especially for the next couple of weeks, even months. So you may find yourself kind of going within. Okay. So what are ascension symptoms? Well, it's kind of like you may start to kind of feel like you're off. There may be upgrades coming in. There may be cellular upgrades. There may be aha moments, that are going to be becoming much more apparent for you during the next few months. And there's also going to be a lot of healing. Interestingly enough, the 8-8 portal is bringing in a major healing element. Okay. It's bringing in a major healing element. It's allowing you to cut away what's not working for you. It's allowing you to bring in new things that you can start to work with, that you can kind of put into your magical toolbox. If you're in the process of just awakening, you're going to find that these aha moments are going to be like, oh my gosh, I never looked at it that way. Or, oh my gosh, this is starting to make sense. So don't be afraid of that. There's also going to be moments that are going to be very emotional. I have the Ace of Cups here, which tends to be about, emotions pouring in. We always say that cups are very watery. I do have the Ace of Swords, which is kind of interesting because it's very intellectual. So you may be craving this information, and you may find yourself kind of really stepping up and adding to this information to allow yourself to open up. So don't be afraid to do that. Interestingly enough, like I said, the card that popped out of the deck while I was shuffling is the Queen of Pentacles. So here she is, Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Now, what's important about her? She is someone that definitely is a go-getter. She kind of has everything kind of all put together. She's very comfortable and confident. And then we also have the Knight, or in this case, the Prince of Swords. This is a forward movement. Okay. So again, we have the intellectual side of the swords. But there's definitely going to be a need to really focus on your forward movement. Okay. You're also going to find that there may be some things that you are juggling that something has to give. Okay. And it's going to be one of those things where, to some degree, less is more. and it's going to cause you to really kind of make a strong choice of what and who you keep in your life. Okay, so what and who you keep in your life. Um, it's also going to be about bringing in the magic to you and bringing in the magic to the world. One of the messages I received the other weeks um, from Sekhmet was a big focus on people waking up and focusing on helping with magic of the earth. Okay, because Sekhmet is a destruction goddess, we are able to clear away the foundation to allow ourselves to build something new and wonderful with a solid foundation, right? But with the healing element, we're able to heal those wounds. We're able to clear that area and to fertilize it and encourage it to grow strong. Okay. So again, there's going to be a large amount of energy that's going to be coming in, allowing you to really focus your magic, focus on your personal magic, but also focus on your role within the magical community and your role within the magic of the cosmos, the earth. Okay. This is going to be something that's important. You know, ultimately with 8-8, we have the star Sirius, which is lining up within the heavens, and that is what's opening this particular gate. Hey, Lisa, how are you? I do see you. So I'm glad that we were able to get that to work for you. So this particular portal is really going to be something that's going to allow you to really make some changes, add on some new things, but it's also going to require you to possibly let some things go that maybe aren't working out for you or are not in your highest and best. Okay. I am going to say that you may find yourself kind of stressing out about the need to kind of let go of some things, but oh, okay, cool. Good to know. I'll catch up with you on that a little bit later on, Lisa. But one of the things that we're focusing on is making sure that you're in a good frame of mind to allow yourself to do this. Okay. There's also going to be a big push on being mindful to other people, being mindful of your energy, being mindful of how you take care of your body, how you take care of your personal energy. And I almost feel like this is going to be a real, I don't want to say eye opener, but I feel it's going to be a wake up call for people to really kind of get a good routine developed, and that you're practicing over the next few months of how you care for yourself, how you care for your energy. Again, that ties back into the discernment. It ties into really focusing on, is this in my highest and best? Do I want to do this? Does this make sense? Is this of the brightest, the whitest of light that's healing and helping? Okay, so keep that in mind. There's going to definitely be a big push with this almost like this mindfulness within how we treat people, a mindfulness of how we treat ourselves and how we provide our own self-care, which ultimately leads to our self-worth and our self-development. I almost feel like these things are kind of all stacked together. And when we shuffle, it's like when you do that shuffle here with the dealer shuffle, and the cards kind of then go in, and then they kind of like fold the cards, and then they just kind of all lay in perfectly in alignment. I feel like that's going to be one of the things that's going to allow you to kind of take in some of that energy. Okay, so there's definitely going to be some people that maybe you have worked with in the past that might resurface. There may be some new people that you have your eye on that you are going to work with, because I have the Two of Cups here. So this is something where there potentially is partnerships coming in. I feel like it might very well be tied in with relationships. Again, it could also be tied in with almost like a spiritual mentor. Okay, almost like a spiritual mentor to help guide you, to help anchor you, to help hold space for you, and to help you with your development, so that way you're making the progress step by step, and they're there to kind of help hold the space, keep you grounded, and also challenge you. You know, there are going to be some things that ultimately they may very well challenge you on. So this is just going to be something that we're going to really need to focus on. What I would really do is really focus on journaling. I feel like that's going to be a huge part, just to kind of give you an opportunity to kind of sort different things out and see what makes sense and what doesn't, especially during this time period. I also feel like there's going to be a big push on meditation. You know, meditation is great for a lot of things, body, mind, and spirit, we always say. It also quiets our mind enough for us to be able to allow messages to drop in. And that's when a lot of us are able to do our best work, when we're meditating or sleeping. You know, sometimes those things will come in overnight. You may also find that there's healing energy that comes in through meditations. You know, there may very well be some guided meditations that all of a sudden jump out at you that you really want to focus on, because there's going to also be a big push with the focus on the divine feminine and how it particularly balances with the divine masculine to create this ebb and flow to find the sweet spot. Okay. We all have our masculine energy. We all have our feminine energy, and we ultimately want to be in balance of that as well. Okay. So keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of things with that in order to allow that to take place. Now, what I want to do is ask and see if there's anything that we should be focused on, or actually ask if there's any messages that we want to really focus on or that we should be aware of during this 8/8 portal season. We have the Six of Swords. Okay, let me get one more card. We have the Princess of Swords, and we have the Sun. Now, ultimately, you know, so the story of Sekhmet, she's technically a lioness goddess that ties in with the Egyptian, um, gods and goddesses. She is thought to be the daughter of Ra, the sun god. So ultimately, she's tied in with the sun. If you've ever seen a picture of her, she has a big sun disk on her head. And the card I just pulled is the sun. Okay, the sun. So with that being said, there's a lot of sun energy, a lot of fire energy that's going to be coming in. We're going to find it. The other thing I also want to mention is that we wound up with some other swords cards. Think about how you make swords. Think about how you do that smithcraft. You use fire. You use your might, your pounding and your shaping and your being patient in order to forge the shapes of whether it be a sword or what have you that you want, that you can use. Okay, so there's going to be things that I feel like you're going to be ultimately kind of crafting for yourself, about yourself, you know. And I feel like there's going to be the element of fire that's going to be kind of needed in order to kind of help manipulate and move things around and to create the what's the word I'm looking for, the alchemy that's needed in order to turn what we want into, you know. Ultimately, when we hear the word alchemy, we think of turning lead into gold. And how do you turn lead into gold? You're ultimately working with metals, which is ultimately with fire. But with spiritual alchemy, we're shifting, we're changing, almost like changing from 3D to 5D, or even 7D, dimensions. So we're shifting dimensions. We're shifting our consciousness. We're shifting our thoughts. Okay. So these are things that we definitely want to remind ourselves of. And also, one of the other things I want to say about the Six of Swords is that it's allowing us to remind ourselves that we may find that there may be a little bit of a rough patch, or we might be in a rough patch now, but things will be moving smoothly, and we will be back out into the clear sailing again. Okay, so it may be a little bit of a challenge during this time frame of how things during this shifting time of the year, during this shifting process. But I feel like it's going to be something that is really required in order to help bring in the abundance, in order to help bring in the sun. We have it. It's funny, with the Egyptian pantheon, we have the sun god, who's in charge of creation, I guess you could say. But more importantly, when we talk about earth and sky, sky is female and is Nut, and land or earth is Geb, which is male. So we kind of have that juxtaposition. So what I'm hearing ultimately is we also need to shift our perception and shift our points of view in order to allow ourselves to kind of step outside our comfort zone and create something new and wonderful that we want. It's there. We just need to kind of put some time and energy into feeling a little bit uncomfortable while we're in the process of working through this. Okay. So what I will say is stick with it. The uncomfortable feeling, we have our learning moments during many times uncomfortable feelings, unfortunately we do. But this is going to be something that I feel is going to be really important. And I do feel like you're going to find that this is going to be way beneficial for you than what you're even remotely thinking. Okay. So that's something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. What I'm hearing is don't give up the ship. Don't give up midway through because you're feeling that this shift or this awakening process is difficult. Okay. The number of times I hear people that say, oh my God, the awakening is so awful. It's so hard. And then we have some people that say, oh my God, it's the easiest thing. They think that they just went to bed and woke up the next morning and poof, they're all, woken up. But there's a lot of work that we do on ourselves during this whole process. It's a journey. It's not just one of the things where you're checking things off of your list in order to get to the end. You're learning along the way, yes. And you're finding that, there may be some things that you make some mistakes on, and we learn from them. Oh, there's Owen, one of my cats. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, and be open to the challenges. Be really open to communication with yourself. And again, using the discernment, allow yourself to really not get overwhelmed. But also you might need to, like I said, let some things go in order to bring in these new things. And again, focusing on bringing in someone that can help you with this process. We're all at different stages along the way, I guess you could say. I've actually so my grandmother trained me at tarot. I would say she started at about age 12. Okay. And I always kind of fought her on it. Because it was a lot of work. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. But just so many different things kept on coming up and then the cards would come back out again. And I thought, okay, obviously this is a message for me where I need to keep working with this, and I've worked with different teachers over the years. I've worked with different healers over the years. I'm signed up to be working with a healer when I actually go out to Sedona coming up in September. So, we all put the work and the time and the energy into ourselves in order to be able to provide um, the best possible outcome, especially with people who are practitioners. They want to be able to help people. That was one of the things I kept on coming back to, that this stuff keeps coming up because I need to be helping people. So that's why I do what I do. That's why I teach. That's why I do mediumship and readings. And that's also why I do the personal coaching, to help people find their potential, to help people open up, to help people find a way of learning about themselves in a safe environment that they feel comfortable and are willing to do the work. You also have to have a commitment to do this work. It's not like it's a one and done. I always say, and I know I've talked about shadow work a lot, so gotta get on that soapbox, so pardon while I do that. We always have this box of deep dark okies that we shove way down deep inside of us, right? And by that I mean trauma, childhood trauma, young adult trauma, even ancestral trauma, multi-generational trauma. It all gets kind of shoved down that we either don't want to deal with, or we've suppressed, and something happens and it triggers us and it comes up and bubbles up to the surface and creates havoc. And so potentially the work that we've done in order to try and kind of get past that has now just been completely blown up. I know that's happened to me. I know it's happened to a lot of people that I know. And the true practitioners are the people that are always working on doing the shadow work on themselves. They're always working on facing some of the things that potentially they went through in order to transmute. Again, I'm going to use that word because it's kind of an alchemy type of word, but ultimately it's shifting the energy and changing it from something that was either painful or hard or very dramatic into something that we can use now that is much more suited for what we are supposed to be doing. And also taking out that element of fear, anxiety, worthiness. A lot of us sometimes might feel that we're not worthy of things. Could very well be that it's something that we've been told over and over and over again, or a situation that happened to us that caused us to kind of shut that part of us down. So sometimes we need to really dive into those things and basically put a spotlight on them in order to really kind of identify what it is, because it might be something that we've completely forgotten about, right? Why it makes us feel that way, and then start to pick it apart. Start to pick it apart so that way we can rework it and use that into something positive and allow it to really take form for something positive in our lives, right? And like I said, for those of you who have ever spoken to or been with a practitioner that has said, I've done a shadow work, one and done. No, it's always a process. And it's not like it's one of those things that goes around, it goes in a spiral. Okay? Because there's always the need to push ahead. There's always the need to push forward. And we change and we adapt. Also, who we are now is very different from maybe who we were, 7 years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So what was important to us then might be very different than it is now. What we valued, or what we were dealing with, or what we thought was something that was so traumatic, might be something that has changed over time. You don't know that until you start to really dig into it. So that's certainly something that's very valuable. And I know when I work with my clients, we do a lot of work where we dive into this stuff, because this is all part of our tapestry of who we are. It's all part of what makes us unique. And then we also factor in ancestral energy. We also factor in different contracts within our, our soul contracts. What we signed up for, what our soul signed up for. You might be kind of going, I didn't know my soul signed up for this XYZ moment in my life. It's a learning moment. I always view that our soul kind of has these homework assignments where we have these lives. And these lives are part of the homework assignments that our soul needs to understand, go through, in order to be able to ascend. I also do a lot of work with ascension magic and ascended masters. We get a lot of messages from ascended masters because I have chosen very specifically to allow that energy to come in and provide healing, and to provide the energetics that are needed for people as they're working on their soul, their evolution ultimately. So it's something that's important, I feel. So I kind of get the feeling that that's what is kind of in store for us. I do feel like it's going to be a very creative time. I also feel like it's going to be a little bit confusing, especially for people that are starting to open up. So in that situation, you're also going to find yourselves wanting to talk about it. And, if you've had situations where family or friends who might not understand what you're going through shut you down, that's not exactly healthy either. You need to find people that can help you work through that can help you and listen to you, so you don't feel like you're the only person in the world that's going through that. At Avalon Enchanted, we are really focusing on developing a community of people and magical practice where people feel comfortable to talk about their path, learn about their path, and explore new things to help them along their path. And do it in such a way that is safe and secure and gives them the ability to build the confidence that they need and that they want in order to get them to the next level. So, in a nutshell, that's a little bit about what Avalon Enchanted is and does. Avalon is actually the mythical island of healing within the magical Welsh world. It's considered a magical island that is operated by 9 goddesses or healers, and they are there to help people with healing and their progress. So let's see what Sekhmet has to say. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, okay? I just had half the deck fall out. So let me reshuffle that part again. All right, so we have overcome all enemies, and we have the Ankh. I'm going to ask Sekhmet for one more card of what she'd like to tell us that's important that we need to know. Sekhmet, what would you like to tell us that we need to know? Source of the power of one. All right. Now, this deck, I really, really like it. It's called the Sekhmet Oracle cards by Ra Seki Arts Temple. And I got it relatively recently, so I'm still kind of in the process of working with it. But let's start by talking about the Ankh. Okay, so this is the Ankh. I wear an Ankh. It's part of one of the tools that I work with when I am doing my Sekhem Reiki. And the Ankh is the key of life, if I'm going to give you a little bit more information. It's something that is used throughout the different temples, and is seen. It's the spark of creation. It's the ethos that allows the soul to enter in and out of the body, and it's very apparent on many of the temple and tomb walls throughout Egypt. So it's the ancient symbol of life, birth, and eternal life. It radiates the energy of life wherever it is present. It is a powerful symbol to wear to keep your life force energy strong and balanced. One who wears an Ankh is walking with the power of the ancient Kemetic ancestors. And it's a sign for you to embrace your life and to live your best life. As long as you are growing, you are truly living. Again, don't be just in the habit of going through things just to check off the boxes along your magical path, along your magical journey. Enjoy it. Learn from it. That's important to know. Once you stop growing, you will lose your life force energy. So we always keep growing in that spiral, like I talked about. We always keep moving forward. Make sure to feed your mind so it stays sharp. Feed your heart love, peace, and joy. Feed your body the best food possible. Like I said, there is going to be a focus on mindfulness, which is going to be really, really important. Also, feed your spirit so that you stay positive and in alignment with your highest destiny. So if you feel called, get an Ankh to hang in your home or wear one. Draw an Ankh and meditate with it and see what information you glean from it. This is something that will certainly help allow you to be confident and strong, and to really help focus on balancing your energy. Again, I wear it all the time. So the Ankh. The other card that I pulled, or I should say that Sekhmet dropped out of the deck, is Overcomer of All Enemies. Overcomer of all enemies. One of the things I want to say, or what I'm hearing, is sometimes you've all heard, not sometimes, you've all heard the phrase, sometimes we're our own worst enemies. So we need to, and you'll notice that she has knives in her hands. She's cutting away what no longer serves. We talked about in the reading that there are a lot of swords, and we cut away what no longer serves. It's very smart. It's very intellectual. And sometimes it can be one of those things where cutting away we have to do it in order to be able to move forward. We have to kind of lighten our load. So, overcomer of enemies. Let's see. So the message for this, there are people who love us and who don't. An enemy is one who wants to bring harm, oppose, or stop you. Be clear on who your enemies are. Sometimes we make enemies out of those who are not. Make sure that you are not projecting misplaced anger and emotions towards others. And when you treat people right, you don't create enemies. Make sure that you are not your own enemy, like I said, and be at peace with yourself and others. If you know that you have enemies, make peace with them in the spiritual realm. Do what you can to release negative energy and restore balance within. Do not live in fear of your enemies. Live with courage and know that you are divinely protected when you live with integrity and a good heart. So, you can ask Sekhmet to protect you from your enemies, whether be it's enemies against individuals that or even enemy. Like I said, sometimes we're our own worst enemy, but ultimately we need to stay in balance. We need to stay in flow. We need to be in a creative mode. And if we're too busy fighting ourselves or others, or if we're allowing that, using up that energy for that, we don't have the energy that we need in order to be able to do the good that we want to do and to do the true work on ourselves. This also ties into that shadow work that I talked about. So it's important. One of the things that you can do is, really allow yourself to forgive, because sometimes we carry around something for years that we just don't need to be carrying, or maybe was something that over time, part of it has changed. So keep that in mind. You can bring in stones to help you with that, like tourmaline for protection, like black shungite or obsidian to protect you from any negative energies. You can also wear or bring in amethyst, which is very much helpful and protective. So it's good in terms of calming, but it's also very protective. Smoky quartz is protective as well. So those are two that are really, really good. I would also pair this with something like a rhodochrosite or like rose quartz in order to bring in the self-love and the self-healing. Again, the balance. Okay. Now, the last card that came out of the deck was the Source of Power 1. Again, we have Sekhmet. There's the sun disk on her head. Remember, she's the daughter of Ra. Okay. So let's see what that one is. Bear with me for a second. Source Power of 1. All right. So we're born with power because we are part of the Neter, which means nature in Egyptian, which is the all. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't realize how powerful we are. Sometimes we truly second guess ourselves, and self-doubt and self-sabotage starts to creep in. Like I said, sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. So if we're able to really kind of nip that in the bud, then we're then able to really turn around and really harness our true potential and our true power, which is important. So we don't always feel connected to the source of all. It is through this disconnection that we become sick physically, spiritually, or mentally. When we're not doing work on ourselves, going for healings, having body work done, allowing ourselves to really be grounded and anchored in meditation and working through things and keeping our chakra centers cleared, we get energy that builds up in our body or in those particular chakra points of our body that create an issue, which can result in an appearance of a physical issue. So it's in our best interest to really do what we need to do to be mindful of our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and to keep everybody all in check and all, again, in balance. Okay? So it's time for you to reconnect with the source so that you may feel your power. Sometimes we never truly step into our power. And that's why finding a spiritual mentor to help you step into your power is important. Many times we have people reconnecting with their energy, reconnecting with their power, stepping into their power. Some of it might be more masculine, some of it might be more feminine. Again, like I had talked about. When I was working with a spiritual healer in Egypt, one of the tasks that I was really focusing on is balancing out and really kind of boosting, I guess you could say, my feminine, divine feminine energy and stepping into that. Because when I'm able to step into that and be balanced in it, then I'm able to do a lot more and be open and clear to receive a lot more. So that's important to know. Hold on one second. On now. Okay. So with that being said, it's really important to do that. So it's time for you to reconnect with the source so that you may feel your power. Okay. When you live according to your divine purpose, you become more powerful, just like I just said, right? And when everything is clicking and everything is going, things are a lot easier and things are good. And there's my cat going, why is she snapping? So that's important to know. Let me go back here really quick because I feel like I just kind of accidentally knocked myself offline on Instagram, but we're good now. So we want to represent the Creator by living according to our highest destiny and our highest aspect of ourselves. When we're doing that, and we are allowing that energy to flow, then there's a lot that you'll surprise yourself when we are able to love ourselves and to really understand ourselves and understand why we have certain things that happen and why we have certain reactions to certain things that have happened in our lives or that we've done in our lives. Then we're able to kind of stand in our power a lot stronger than someone that is kind of going from crises to crises. Okay? So do everything that you can to raise your spiritual energy and power. Open your heart and mind to be more spiritual. You have the power to create with your thoughts, with your visualization, with your words and your energy, and ultimately use your power. As they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. You do, use your power. When it's all truly in balance, we're starting to really understand the messages much clearer than that are dropping in from spirit and from the universe. Then when we're not doing work on ourselves and things are kind of coming in disjointed and we're not getting the full message. So this is going to be something that's really important, I feel. Focusing on the Ankh to bring in the power and the protection. Cutting away what no longer serves us and standing in our power and not being, getting rid of the self-sabotage. Again, sometimes we're our own worst enemies, but the source of power, this is us after we've cleared out, I'm going to say, the BS, okay? And we're doing our work. And then we're allowed to have this drop in and make a lot more sense. It's almost like if you're able to really give yourself the permission to do that, then you're going to get a lot more out of your spiritual path. You're going to get a lot more out of, any types of trainings or magical or modalities that you either have and you work with, or that you're going to be learning, or that you want to learn. I also feel like over time, when people enter their spiritual path and start to open up, they start with some of the basic things, but then there's stepping stones that get them from point A to point B to point C, etc. Okay? And the important thing is, as you're doing that, you're cleansing and clearing, but more importantly, you're taking time to integrate. You can't go from point A to point C, because then you're going to be missing some key information. So take time. Don't feel like you have to go rushing in and doing everything all at once, because some people do that and then they can't unsee what they've seen, because they've thrown open the spiritual curtains, and they're like, now what? I'm not prepared to deal with this. Okay. So that's why it's important to allow yourself to ascend slowly, gradually, in sequence, because it also helps develop the confidence. It also helps develop the foundation, and it allows you to appreciate the path that you're on and the work that you do. It allows you to appreciate the work that you do and the path that you're on. Okay? So some things that you can do to help with the source power. How many of you ever just pray? Pray. Be thankful. Be mindful, but also be thankful of what we have and where we are. I feel like that's important. I know a lot of people along this metaphysical path that may have started their journey for a wonderful reason, and something changed, something flipped, which caused them to kind of maybe go through the motions of things, but not necessarily do it with integrity and true from their heart. Okay. So be able to be thankful and open that line of communication with spirit. Angels don't respond to us unless we ask. When we are working with our different deities or our ascended masters, they're going to be much more responsive to us if we are doing work on a regular basis, so they know how we work, and you're developing a relationship with them. Also, being thankful and appreciative. If we just are there going, asking for stuff and just, I want this, want that, give me this, give me that, they're going to get tired of it. They're going to get tired of it. Do you blame them? I don't. So there is an element of I want to say humility, of thankfulness. that is very important. And I feel like that sometimes is a piece of the puzzle that people sometimes lose track of. All right. So keep that in the back of your mind. You know, really get into the habit of journaling. You're going to find that, and I know I've mentioned this before, but thought is energy that goes out to the universe. Written word goes out to the universe. Our what comes out of our mouth goes out to the universe. So if we are seriously practicing this and doing it in a place that is true and sincere and humble, and we're thanking our guides, our deities, our ascended masters who are connecting with us, then we're going to find that we have a much easier path that is going to lead us in a direction that's going to open up faster and is also going to have a deeper relationship. Because ultimately, the metaphysical is all about, I don't want to say it's a lifestyle because I don't want it to be cliche, but there are things that I do that I'm sure other people don't do, because it's just part of, I feel, important to my path. And I've been doing it for a while, and it's second nature. So you're going to find that is going to be something that's important. So communicate with your ancestors and let your spirit guides guide you. You know, also be open to body movement. We do need to definitely spend some time being outside and moving around and exercising and really being mindful of how we live, what we eat, our sleep patterns, etc. Because that's going to allow us to be much more able, like I keep saying, to receive these messages and to receive this guidance and to really be standing in our power and be confident. Okay. So exercise and write in your journal. Write in your journal when you go outside or even before you go outside. Communicate with your ancestors and let spirit guide you. How many times have you gone through something and just something didn't feel right, but you didn't listen to it? And you kind of did it anyhow? Spirit will tell us if there's something that we need to do or not do. We need to listen. So part of this finding our power is also listening to our bodies, listening to spirit, listening to the nuances of how they connect and communicate with us, and be open to really understanding them and understanding those patterns. When I do mediumship, a lot of what I get tends to be hits where I just know things. I don't necessarily get, I'll get some visual stuff, but most of it is I just know. And if I don't say it, it could be something that someone in particular is waiting to hear that makes a lot of sense. It makes no sense to me, but it makes a lot of sense to them if I'm doing a mediumship reading. So you gotta say it, and you gotta stand behind it and stand behind it, in order to allow it to flow and be, like I said, in a place where you are comfortable with who you are and open, and you're receiving. You're also giving back. It's all part of that mindfulness give and take. So some of the other things: sing, dance, love, and create. How many of you are spending time working on those things? Sing, dance, and sometimes art, or even crafts. That's technically a form of meditation. When you're doing that, you let your mind go and you go with it. And that's when things drop in. We kind of let our guard down and the energy drops in, the message drops in. So sing, dance, love, and create. Dance is something that's obviously very physical, but it connects with our bodies and it connects with spirit. How do we lift the energy of spirit? How do we raise the energy? We sing. I saw it in church this past weekend when I went to a funeral. The singing energy, the energy of laughter raises the vibration. Love is the highest vibration that is out there. So when we focus on love for ourselves, love for humanity, love for the earth, love for others, we're helping the planet. We're helping and doing spirit's mission, or doing our soul's mission that spirit is guiding. How about that? Okay. You're more powerful than you know, and use your power for its highest good. Those are some things to really focus on and to journal about, or use as a mantra. I am more powerful than I know. I will use my power for my highest good. You wake up in the morning and you say that's pretty powerful stuff, and it's going to start your day in a direction that potentially is going to give you the opportunity to overcome any obstacles, and to do it in such a way where you're not freaking out about things. You're problem solving on the fly, and you're in a much better place. So yeah, I am more powerful than I know. I will use my power for my highest good. That's a great mantra to work with. So anyhow, I hope that this gives a lot of good, useful energy about this 8/8 portal. Just to recap, people who are in the process of just starting to open up, find yourself someone that you feel comfortable with that can help guide you. Be open to it. You're going to find that things happen quickly. So as you're going, allow time to integrate in between. Don't be afraid of it, but also keep moving forward. Keep up with your shadow work. Be open and honest with yourself. We always focus on what is it? Shame and guilt, distrust, disloyalty. Some of those things that we've kind of shoved down deep inside. So if we're able to let those go, we're making room for something new and wonderful to come in. Right? So messages were, it's going to be a little bit rocky. Don't give up the ship. It may be a little bit tough in terms of this process, in terms of this opening process or along our path, but it's in our best interest to keep going because we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. Again, standing in our power, cutting out what no longer serves us, not allowing ourselves to be our worst enemies and self-sabotaging, and tapping into this power that allows us to bring in the positiveness, to connect with spirit, and to make the most of our path. So, hope that helps. We have virtual tickets available for tomorrow night's 8/8 ceremony. Unfortunately, all of the in-person tickets sold out. However, people can still go online on Eventbrite and purchase a remote Zoom ticket if they're interested in joining in on the ceremony. So that's certainly something to focus on that's coming up. We have a lot of great other things that are also coming up. Please visit us in Wickford. We usually will post when we're going to be there. We're usually there at least one day a weekend, preferably two. It depends. Cindy and I are working on scheduling and good stuff like that. So definitely check that out. And check and see our list of different events and activities that we have going on Eventbrite. And again, we're always available for readings, healings, past life regression, and one-on-one coaching. I am doing an intensive program on Sekhmet with people that really helps them develop a better understanding of who Sekhmet is, how to stand in the power, and how to bring in the healing energy to make the most of your path. So if you're feeling called, by all means, message me, email me at Tori at avalonenchanted.com, or direct message me through Facebook or Instagram, or even Threads, or even YouTube. And we can definitely schedule something. I can definitely work with people remotely. So if you're not in the country or not local to this area, please don't let that deter you, because we definitely do a lot of great work remotely. Again, I've just started a class where on teaching tarot for beginners. It's a 6-section class that breaks down the tarot into smaller, manageable chunks. And if people are interested, we can still get you in. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments on this particular reading, please leave them either on YouTube or on Instagram or on Facebook. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Love to hear how things are going for you during this time of 8/8, Lionsgate. So keep that in the back of your mind. Always love to hear from people, and hope everyone has a great evening and a good 8/8 summer season. And take care, everyone. Thanks again. Bye.